Good afternoon, guys. Today I will be showing you how to use a clipping plane to create yourself a floor plan or architectural section look for your renders. There's a couple of different options. The first one that I want to cover is just a general option that you can achieve with any rendering engine in 3D Max, no matter what, and that's by using a camera and just using the clipping planes within the camera itself. So I'm just creating a camera here. It makes no difference where it is or what it actually does. And the beauty of this is if we scroll all the way down to miscellaneous, you can see that these clipping planes, they're usually off. So you'll be getting something like this. But if you click on enable, you can sort of see that these red lines appear, right? And that they specify your near and your far uh, surfaces. So if I move my far option here, you can sort of see that that red line is moving. And if I move my near, you will see that that other red line is moving. And basically, whatever is the space between these two lines, this is what's shown, and the rest is not shown from the camera perspective. Okay, so that means if I was to modify this um, this little target here and move it here, and I move this camera here like so. I'm just going to do Alt W so we can go full screen so we can see a little bit more what's happening. Just going to move the target camera down below. Okay, so we selected our kill camera, and because of the scroll all the way down, because of this near element, if I was to move my near here or make it a 0, that means that from the camera all the way down to wherever the far element is, uh, I will be showing everything. So for example, if our far is over here, you'll be showing stuff from here all the way up to here, which means this is our entire model, and you wouldn't be cutting anything. If I move my far higher up, for example, like so, I would only be showing the roof and all the elements within from there to here, and all the stuff below that would not be shown at all. So that means that when you are, I mean, this is basically the opposite of what you would try to do for your floor plans. So in that case, if you wanted to have your proper, but this is useful for certain elements, but not for everything, but for certain things, this could actually be very useful. For us, it's the other way around. So what we need to do, we need to move our far all the way down there, and then we need to change our near to something that's actually cutting the object we want. So in this case, you would sort of move your near element up to here, and that means that the roof all the way up to here would be deleted, and you will be able to see all the elements, all the geometry from this line all the way up to this line. So all of these elements here would be visible. So this is what you would usually do, but this is all just based on a camera, and that means all the wall thicknesses that are being cut, there's no easy way to showcase what's actually there, meaning that you would just see uh, a thin plane on one side of the wall and a thin plane on the other side of the wall, and that cut plane would not be visible. So it would just be invisible, and you would be able to see inside the geometry, and it looks very cheap and it looks very nasty. But that was the only way to do things up to a couple of years ago, and then you would have to go into Photoshop and start to add thicknesses for where the walls are being cut, where the ceilings are being cut, and so on. Now, because we don't want to be doing silly things and spend way too much time than we need, we are going to delete this bloody camera because we don't. That's a old-fashioned way to do things. I'll show you a better way. Now, this way is specifically. I'm just going to go Alt W. Uh, this way is only for vray itself because it's using a specific vray plugin that comes with the vray. And if we go into Create tab and we go into simple geometry there and we find ourselves a vray tab, there is such a thing as a vray clipper, and basically that's the plugin that we really want to use. So basically select it and just click on once somewhere on your top view and you will position it. Now the size of this clipper doesn't really make a difference. It's just there so you can actually see where it is. The clipping plane is infinite, and it will be cutting all the geometry you have based on that line. And in here I just want to move it upwards so we can actually cut into some of this building. So maybe let's do something like this. If you go into options, while you have your clipper selected, you'll see there's quite a few options in here. You can exclude certain things from being clipped, but let me first show you what this looks like in the first place. So I'm just going to do a quick render. So this is a previous test that I was doing, so please close your eyes, don't look at this. And this is what we're getting. Now you see there's a lot of blue area, and unfortunately during this particular test I decided to put my bloody clipping plane in the middle of the slab, and that's why everything is being grayed, because that's literally cutting through the middle of the slab. That's unfortunate, or very accurate if you like to see it that way. But you can sort of see that all the clipping elements, all the elements that are being cut into are showing this blue color. The reason why that is blue is because our beautiful little clipping plane color is based always on the wireframe of that clipping plane. Okay, so if I was to change this to be a different color, you would be able to then see that color yourself. So I'm just going to move it down so it doesn't actually cut into an actual slab. And let's try this again. You can sort of see now, in a couple of seconds, you will see that all the elements are now red. That are being cut, and that's because we changed our wireframe color in there. Um, to get a little bit more options on this, to give you a little bit more freedom to do whatever you want, I would suggest you apply a V-Ray material itself. You just create a new one and just drag and drop it into the onto the V-Ray clipper, and that will actually allow you to maybe have some sort of reflections or have any other elements to it. If you don't really care, you're just trying to have a simple color, then maybe this is the way to go. There's no right or wrong answers here, whatever suits your particular style that you're trying to achieve. And there you go. The shadows themselves are fairly small because the V-Ray sun is fairly high up. So you may want to be sort of playing with the V-Ray sun setting to get a longer shadows in one area and so on. Um, what we can do as well in the V-Ray clipper itself is if you click on the use object material, that means if you have multiple objects, they will assume the color of that object. So for example, the wall brick material will be showing as wall brick in here as well. And this object will have the storage material object that you apply to the actual object itself. So that's another way to sort of hide the cut plane somewhat. Um, I think for what you guys are trying to achieve, having a specific color like this, red, black, or something like that, is more preferable. But again, there's no right or wrong. Whatever you think is best, you can do that. But the cool thing is about this is, rather than just using a camera, that you can use this in any view you want, really. So in the top view where we sort of did this render, we were able to do an orthographic, a straight top-down view, but you can actually also switch to perspective mode itself, and we can actually start to play around with the perspective cuts, and that's where the beauty of this object really starts to shine. It just makes everything look much nicer, and you can actually achieve some fairly unique results. You can have your sections being cut in all these different directions and achieve quite a unique element. Sorry, quite a unique rendering image that you would like. You can sort of see, because we selected a use object material IDs, there's no more colored cuts. All the objects, in this case, they're all the same object, so that's why all the cut elements are showing the same color. But you can see how this can actually blend into um, uh, your architectural render. So unless you want to show exactly where these cuts are, maybe this is the way you want to go. And again, it's really completely up to you. There's no right or wrong answer there. So I'm just going to cancel this render, and basically let's do something a little bit crazy. So we will select our clipper here. It takes a little bit a while longer when the clipper is cutting into the geometry, so don't get discouraged. Okay, Here we go, selection is there. So I'm going to turn this one off because I want to showcase my beautiful red cut. And while this is selected, I'm just going to go into one of these views, go to rotate, and basically do a cheeky cut this way. Or maybe let's go this way. And when I go here, let's do something like this as well. See what the hell. Okay, let's see. So you can see that this is sort of cutting all these different geometries in a sort of unorthodox cutting plane. And maybe that's something you want to do, maybe not. But the beauty of this is you can not only do this, but you can actually go into the exclude options here under your V-Ray clipper. You can actually select a particular statue or an object you want to still protrude outwards and not being cut by the object itself. And by doing this, it just gives you much more option. Gives you a better option to sort of achieve a very unique result um, to what you want. So I'm going to show that. I'm, I'm going to show you that in a second. I just want to let this finish so you can sort of see how that sort of is looking. Two tables. But yeah, basically you can do something like this. Uh, but if you go to into exclude, you can select any one of these objects, and whatever you see on the left is that's all being cut is able to be cut. But if you have a specific object you don't want to be cut, you can select it in here and just push it on the other side, and that will sort of make it exclude, and that means that it will show up in full height, whatever it is, and that's it. So yes, have lots of fun with this, muck around and achieve whatever you can, because it's going to be amazing to see that. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a good day.